All right, we are live for episode 12. It's been 12 weeks. We've made it. That's pretty awesome. So welcome, everyone, and today is another great episode. It's going to be a little different today because we're kind of shifting a little bit the format. So normally, it's just the three of us, and then we've started having guests come in for a topic. And today we actually picked the topic based off the guests. So we're going to be talking about SEO and I'm sure some other marketing stuff. So our guest today, actually, I'm going to let Mike introduce him a little bit, because Mike actually is the one who went out and found him. He's a friend of Mike. So Mike, who are we talking to today?
So Daniel, can you do me a favor? Say your full name because it's like a mile long.
It is Daniel Kingsley. It's not actually Kingsley. That was used to pick up chicks. Danes Hutt, H-U-T-T. So yeah.
So it's just Daniel Danes Hutt.
Yeah.
So
the Kingsley came from like Life Aquatic and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, because I used to call you just Daniel Two Trees, because Two Trees is your company. So Daniel, I met him a couple of years ago on the AppSumo Facebook group. He would just post a lot of stuff in the group and just really stood out, which was pretty much, I'm guessing he was just doing a regular strategy of infiltrating a group, just really helping, give a lot of information, and eventually finding people that resonate with that and then turning them into clients, which he basically did with me for about 6 months, I guess, or 4, what was it, like a half a year.
Yeah.
So he had, I forget how we connected, but I think I'd asked him a question, or I was looking for SEO, and I reached out to him. We got on a Google Hangout, and I was just kind of explaining my company. It was Drive80.com, which is still Drive80.com. It's one of my companies. It's my animation company, and he was explaining how he does all this SEO stuff, and it's really cool. And so I was like, awesome, man. And he gave me, he was like, we could do this for this, and we'll, charge you monthly and set up your site. So I was like, awesome. So actually, I stopped working with a lot of people along the way just to cut back, and it wasn't because he wasn't doing a good job. It was just because as an entrepreneur, the first thing you need to cut, the only thing you can control as an entrepreneur is your margins. So if your margins are not healthy and you're doing a lot of spending, you have to start cutting where it is, which is kind of like, in hindsight, I probably should have just invested more in that to bring more traffic. But so that's Daniel, and he right now is focusing big on retargeting. He had a huge success, which we can let him talk about, and that's pretty much it. So welcome, Daniel, to the Hangout.
Thanks for having me, guys. Much appreciated.
And he's from England, right?
New Zealand.
No,
Yeah,
he lives in New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
I live in New Zealand, but I'm from England, so I apologize if there's a slight delay.
I feel like there's you have an Australian accent, though.
I've been traveling for 6-7 years now, so it's getting there. Plus, we're doing our residency application, and I think we have to learn to speak Kiwi English.
You have to go on a walkabout?
Pretty much, yeah. A vision quest, and
That's awesome.
All right, real quick before we jump into the main content, we want to highlight really quick, Mike and I were talking about just the Entrepreneurs Roundtable, which if you're not a part of the actual Facebook group, you should just go to Facebook, search Entrepreneur Roundtable, and join. But it's such a great group, and there's so many people who, we're up to 125 members now, just completely organically. I added a few people, and Mike added a few people, and I think Gideon added a few people, and it's just kind of snowballed from there, the growth. But yeah, it's just been an awesome time, and we've had some really great people just contributing some stuff. So there's a few wins we've had in the last 2 weeks we kind of wanted to point out. So Mike, did you want to start off with some of them? Do you want me to go, or how do you want to kind of promote these?
Well, you structured the show, so I'm going to let you
okay.
you go for it.
Okay. So first off, Sarah, which you all know Sarah more if you've been watching any of these episodes, she recently had this cool win where so Periscope's obviously this new thing, right? That's getting bigger and bigger. And she got mentioned in Ryan Bell, I believe. He's works at Periscope. I haven't really researched him, but I don't know if he created Periscope or if he just works there or what. But he's involved with Periscope, and he's now mentioning her and stuff, and gets on her scopes and whatnot. So it's she's becoming such an authority in Periscope that the actual Periscope people are like following her and watching her stuff and referencing her stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's got like 500 followers or something ridiculous.
Yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago. Who knows what she's at now?
She's at like 5 million right now. She just she scopes, as the kids call it.
Yeah. And then we had Jason, who I can't remember his last name right now.
Good job. Way to run the group.
Yeah, good job. We appreciate you. We don't know your last name, but we appreciate you.
Jason Vance?
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
He got a question answered in Gary V's little Ask Gary, so that's pretty cool. That's an awesome thing. And we've had some. We'll in the next few episodes we'll share some of the others, but we've had some awesome stuff. Actually, I think that's part of the reason Daniel's on today is it kind of got our attention. A win he's had recently, and we're like, dude, we got to feature him. So, but we just wanted to take that time to say that because we really appreciate everyone there and everyone who contributes. So we wanted to kind of give a shout out to some of you guys who have some awesome wins and doing some awesome stuff. So.
Yeah, and we decided that what we're going to do, because we've done, this is the 12th episode now, so 12 weeks we've been doing this. So as it goes along, it just started off as an idea. We're like, hey, let's just talk in front of people, and now we're trying to structure it a little bit. So Jared kind of came up with this whole thing of how to structure it. We really want to spotlight the Entrepreneurs Roundtable. So really get active in the group, post about your wins, because we really want to throw that out there to you guys because it gives you exposure, and it also gets you fired up to, that drive to want to, progress your business a lot more. So we're definitely going to do a lot more mentioning of people like we just did right now. And yeah, so like with Daniel, he had a huge success, and I guess it's pretty much what we're going to kind of dive into is the whole retargeting thing that he's becoming the retargeting wizard guy. Is it like 3 degrees in your house right now, or?
Yeah, it's pretty cold. It's like height of winter here, so yeah, it's not the best, and it's also raining pretty bad. The sky is just gray. The whole sky is just gray. I'd show you, but like you wouldn't be able to see anything apart from gray. So
just gray.
It's like some kind of impressionist painting.
So since we have you here with the success, why don't you just do us a little favor, just like kind of explain what happened, what you did, what was the outcome, and we'll kind of dive into it from there with some questions and get the ball rolling.
Cool. So, excuse me. I started focusing on retargeting because I was getting what I thought was pretty good results, and I didn't realize they were actually kind of 10x industry standard kind of results, like insane. Because I was taking different principles and applying them to retargeting and seeing how they would work. And I released one article which did pretty well, but it was basically I set it up on a low traffic page just to see for an offer, just to see how it would work. And I think for about $2 I made about $1,200 in sales. Jesus. And it was all automated. There was no one speaking to anyone or anything like that, which was great. And I reached out to a few influencers to share that. And they kind of called me out, well, you only made X amount of traffic, X amount of sales. So I reached out to an e-commerce company that I have contacts with, and I ran a campaign with those guys. And then in one weekend, we did almost 19,000 in sales for 114 of marketing spend, advertising spend. The crazy thing is they actually had $90 of that was driving traffic initially. 24 was the retargeting, which made the sales. So if they already had traffic initially, we wouldn't have even had to have spent that 90 on initial kind of growth.
So wait,
the only reason they didn't spend more is they ran out of suits to sell.
Explain that real quick. You lost me. So dive into that.
We wrote it in the article basically as a case study of how all this worked, but we created kind of a mini event where they had a sale on for 48 hours on a weekend. And we drove traffic to a landing page via Facebook ads, announcing that the ad was coming, that the campaign was coming soon, and that there was a lot more detail about the actual how the campaign would work. Certain products are only available on certain days for certain offers. Because it's an established brand, but they're quite new here in New Zealand selling what they sell, their premium suits. We really need to push ahead with what we could do there. And so we did a lot driving traffic initially, And then all we did was retargeted to people who'd shown interest by taking certain actions. So we weren't just retargeting the products to them. If they'd landed on the landing page, then gone to product pages, then before the event came up, they were retargeted with guides of how to buy a wetsuit, what kind of suit to buy, how the materials work, all the kind of questions that you would have that would stop you before you would make a purchase. And then we also pushed through into content. If they looked at certain suits, excuse me, then certain pro athletes' videos would follow them around the internet. So then they would see a guy wearing the actual suit, like a 6-minute video for free would show, and things like this, different sequencing. And so what happened is they're not used to doing sales online, like they would normally make a couple of sales a month. And they came in and they had 15 emails from people who were sat at their computer at midnight waiting to buy.
Wow.
Within the first hour, I think we did about 7,000 in sales.
Jesus.
Yeah, within the second hour, it was around 11,000, 10,000. And then after that, it's certain products would end on one day and then a new one would start on the next day. So we did that, and it was just absolutely crazy results, like huge results. You can go out now and go surfing and see so many people in this particular brand of suit.
That's amazing.
And you wouldn't normally see it. They had a bit of stigma, which we couldn't really reference in the post, but all wetsuit companies, all big brands basically, will make their product, but they'll also make a kind of an entry-level version that is normally branded under someone else's name. And just because they've got all the materials and the resources to make it, it's like Heinz make baked beans, but they also make baked beans for Walmart and everyone else, but they just put it under the Walmart logo. So Body Glove went into a store, excuse me, kind of like Walmart here, and they produced very kind of basic entry-level suits, not the warmest, not the stretchiest, not the best fit, and they would be $50, $100 kind of thing. And they had a huge market selling those, but they left their same logo on, and they didn't differentiate between the quality of their $600, $700 suits and the $50 suit. So we had a lot of that at the start, trying to teach people, actually, this is a different product. This is a much better product from the States kind of thing. It's like a direct import from the States. So we didn't mention that in there because it's a little bit awkward, but we had that against us as well. So a lot of people thought that we wouldn't sell any, and I think they had to close this sale because they had 5 or 6 suits left. It was insane.
So basically, so anyone who doesn't understand retargeting, it's basically when you go to a website and you leave and you see these ads pop up or videos. Now on Facebook, it's really cool. They actually have video pop up. It's just a way. Like, what's the percentage of people who will, like, if you use retargeting, like, what is the conversion rate or the percentage that makes it so much more effective, if there is one?
Well, you would normally get most. So this is the thing, like, retargeting traditionally was by big companies, and so no one was teaching or training. And so when it was finally available to other businesses, we use it as a blunt force tool, where it's, if you look at a product, we're like, hey, did you forget to buy this? Do you still want to buy this? Did you want this iPhone? You know, now available at Target kind of thing. And instead, I was looking at it because I've worked in sales, and only 1 to 2% on average will buy on a website of people. And if you retarget to them just a product, you can get up to 30% more sales that you'd lost. You know, which is huge. You know, people talk about changing button colors and changing loading speed and getting traffic and things. But if you can increase the amount of sales you're making from every single person who comes to the site, that's just absolutely game-changing. And because the cost is so low as well, it was costing us around 2 or 3 cents to show this ad to people. You know, and we were making $300 for every 4 cents sold, kind of thing. Ridiculous.
And that was using Facebook, right?
Yeah, we just focused on Facebook simply because a lot of the other channels, you've got big advertisers to compete against with their budgets and things. And also the particular market for this product, a lot of people are on Facebook. Well, you know, it's a huge channel. Almost as many people watch videos on Facebook now as they do on YouTube, which is just huge considering how fast that has grown.
Yeah. Now, Is there other retargeting ways to retarget that's outside of Facebook? Like, I know there's if I was like just living on Twitter, like could I do that? If I was just on LinkedIn, could I do that? And is there a structure, a change in price for the buy-in for those?
Definitely. So you can do it off the top of my head: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, other websites as well. For YouTube and the other sites are through Google Ad Network, and that's normally where it gets a little bit more pricey. Pinterest at the moment is ridiculously cheap, and the ROI is huge, but you have to be in the right market for it. But there's people making hundreds of thousands of dollars for like $1,000 spend kind of thing. Ridiculous, like the amounts of how they're segmenting through, but you have to have the right market. You can do it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's incredibly high cost to advertise, and also their ads are like this big kind of thing. I personally haven't spent a budget on there where I've seen a good return. It can happen because one sale could be tens of thousands of dollars for your business, but you don't want to be retargeting on LinkedIn unless it is like for Drive 80 would be great, because the ROI would be good on those kind of campaigns. But I think there's other things that you could be doing in LinkedIn that would be more effective rather than putting all your budget in that. This is the crazy thing, right? So I'm building retargeting systems and I'm helping people make more sales. I still believe in organic SEO. I still believe in email marketing and the power that has. Yeah. The ideal goal that I'm trying to get when I work with clients is not to keep them spending money on retargeting, but to get them to take an action where we can get an email or a phone call or a sale kind of thing to that point, because then I can use, instead of wasting that budget on someone else, I can take that to the next person and the next person. I'm very much bootstrap if I can, so it's like...
So I was reading through the article because I'm actually utilizing that article right now to grow. I've got 3 different, I've got Drive 80 I'm trying to grow and using what you built to do that. So I want to drive people there with Facebook ads. And when they leave, I want to retarget with a video of me saying like, hey, you just left, the website, if you're frustrated, people don't get what you do, maybe animations for you and all that crap. And then I have another one where I'm doing, so I have 2 other projects. Like one's for divorced guys who want to get healthy and do a challenge, and the other one is a mastermind group I want to do. So I'll also turn to that. So basically,
that's cool.
So I'm utilizing your whole system that you had on the website. We'll put the website in the group. So if anyone wants to check that out, go to Entrepreneurs Roundtable to check out the link to see Daniel's the blog post that he did. And it's cool because the beginning of it is, all right, do this, set up the ad to go to your landing page, and from your landing page you can put a pixel on it, and then that'll target that audience back again on Facebook. You could show them something. And I like the way you did it because you were like, all right, well, we put it in different areas. So you treated it as if you walk into, let's say, a clothing store, and it's this is kind of the way to have a salesperson in front of you and answer questions along the way, which I like that comparison. So you walk in the store, hey, how can I help you? I'm just looking. All right, cool. Check this out. So there's the sales signs. Then you see them there, you walk up, and you're still not sure you want to buy this. You walk up to them and ask them questions. They're like, oh, yeah, well, it's this, and we're having a sale or whatever it is, so they can answer questions. So it's warming you up to buy more. And I liked your structure where if you go to the landing page, and there's 3 pages you need to get to. There's the landing page, then there was the guide, and then the video of the people showing it to you, and then that was the lead-in. But if you only made it to the first one, you would retarget with the guides to explain it. So it's you left, it's kind of if someone's walking out, a salesperson was like, oh, hey, by the way, as you're walking out, check out this brochure of all the other stuff. So it's you're kind of grabbing them as they're leaving. And I like that approach that you had.
Well, I was trying to think, what is the ideal sequence of events for someone to purchase? And it varies in every product and everything that you've got. But it was... what a lot of people try and do, it's on their website, it's hey, here's what I do, here's my product, buy it, you know? And then if they do have retargeting or they have content marketing, all it does is talk about their product, or it's super vague. Or if they have retargeting about it, it's just keep coming back to the product. Whereas I know for a fact that people are going to have this question and this question and this question and this question. So if I have the content in place and they haven't read it yet, I know that if they read those different pieces, they're going to be so much warmer a lead by the time they contact me. It's normally just, okay, how does this work? How do I pay? Kind of thing, rather than you going through all the details all the time. Because I know with client work, I can be on the phone for 4 or 5 hours back and forth, approving a campaign and writing proposals. So anything to minimize the amount of that time is always great, right?
Yeah.
And so I've tested this with a few other sites right now as well, and I'm just running different case studies. But it's basically gauging, trying to understand your sales funnel and what it takes for people to actually want to buy what you have, and then gauging how warm a lead they are by what actions they've taken. So it's almost like those choose your adventure books, where it's like you see a dwarf with a bag of gold. Do you go left and follow a dwarf, or do you go to the tavern, kind of thing, you know?
I got the tavern.
And that's it. And so if they go to the tavern, okay, they're not ready for an adventure yet, so maybe now I retarget them with an ad where a wizard turns up and starts talking about this dwarf with his bag of gold, right? And then it takes them on that next part of the story and moves them back to there.
I think you just converted like 80% of our geek audience if we have one. It's just like, oh, I totally get it now.
Yeah.
Like Jared.
Oh,
Jared really wants this now. Jared's like, oh, I totally get it now.
He actually gets me.
I think he actually.
And that's the thing.
Like he's dead. Yeah, I think Jared froze. All right, sorry. So go into it. So all right, so okay, wizards. Cool.
Yeah, so it's like you basically you want to I don't want the people, the 2% who buy. Normally you've got an offer that's just so good, like the price is there, or the pain is so real that they want to buy right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Or or they found out all the information they need elsewhere, and now they're they're deciding options, and you're one of the options, and they're talking to you.
Do you have like?
So
I'm sorry, I totally cut you off, but like I just want to stick on that approach for a second. Like, have you found something where there's introducing the product and then the sale? Have you found how many steps? Because I've heard that there's like the 7 steps, 7 touches you need to do with someone, like first meet them, and let's say it was personal. If you first meet them and then like you talk about something, then you do a presentation somewhere and they like see that you're an expert, and then something else that they're like, oh, I have this pain. Like within web, do you find there's this beginning and end, and like you're like, there's this many things you should really do in between?
I think you should have. It's going to take anywhere between 4 and 15 steps with someone before they're going to make a purchase, and it really depends on their character and your offer and what you've got. And I think one of the things I don't touch on there is I think you really should have a sequenced content funnel where you've got a lot of top of content, which is kind of SEO. It's all the questions that people are asking, like how do I get this, how do I do that? So for example, from Drive 80 off the top of my head, it will be, how can I promote my business better? Like, what are the options? And so you might have a piece of content where you're talking about statistically how different pieces of content performs. And that might not even be on your site, that might be on someone else's site.
Mm-hmm.
And they find out, and then they're like, okay, well, we're going to look into video now and animation. And then it's like how to get an animation, what kind of things you should look for to help promote your business. And then you go from a very broad topic into very niche, and then it could even be how to promote my video that I've got so that now it's going to do well for me. I don't just have it produced and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so you're moving them down on the path, and this content isn't relevant to 80% of the audience, but if they read this, and this, they've almost sold themselves at that point. And it's also that kind of like that. You ever heard of bouncing? They do it kind of like in the dating niche when they're trying to pick up chicks and things. It's like,
no.
It makes sense as well from a psychological point in where you wouldn't want to try and ask a girl, to marry you on the first interaction.
To marry?
You would
give it a PG.
Yeah, you kind of like go for you try and have a conversation, and then you try and go for a coffee, and then you might meet on a night out, and you have a drink, and then you say, hey, should we go over to the dance floor? Hey, it's pretty hot. Do you want to go outside? And then we go back and find our friends and all that kind of thing, and you just get these small interactions where it's the next logical step, and you're gauging risk and reward against it, and you're like, okay, well, this person doesn't seem like an absolute crazy person. Yeah, I'm going to go to a dance floor now. Yeah, I'm going to go to the next stage kind of thing. And you're doing that with your content and moving them towards. So what should happen if you have a funnel like this in place is people should be moving themselves along. And what's going to happen is instead of them leaving your site to find new content to help make a purchase, all of your content is, all the information they need is going to be on your site. Right? Like if someone has to leave your business to find out more information about your business, that's a really bad thing. You know, you've basically just lowered your chance of purchase by 50% because it's like, how well does video work as an advertising medium kind of thing, right?
Right.
So it's like if they have to go elsewhere to find that and it's on a competitor's blog, okay, well now I'm going to start reading their content and their content and their content. So when I get to the very end and I've got to choose between the two, I already feel indebted to these guys because I've read X amount of information and they've helped me and they've given me value in advance and I can go from there. So I'm using retargeting to help move people along, but also you can have it very basic as well and make sales, you know? Like literally if you were just super blunt, buy my stuff, you're going to make more sales eventually. But if you can be smart about how you sequence it and move people along, what's going to happen is you're going to have a lead generating machine where this person who's landed on your site is then becoming a much warmer lead on their own without you having to do anything about it, you know?
Right, and then the retargeting is basically just like getting back in front of them. And the one thing I saw a couple weeks ago was it was brilliant. It was this is how I first learned about Facebook retargeting with video. I went to there's this guy I had heard about. He quit drinking for 5 years, and he's really been like kind of popping up all around Facebook. And I think it's because I'm like 10 weeks into like quitting drinking. So it resonated with me. Actually, I read about this guy before I quit drinking for like 20 weeks, and somehow he popped up in Facebook, and I clicked on it, went to his website, and it was just like he had a 20-minute video on like with talking about what he did. And when I left, I go back to Facebook. There he is, right there in a video, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And I click on the video. He's like, "Hey, you were just at my website, real quick. You know, I just wanted you to go over the benefits of quitting drinking again." And I was like, if I was in the process of figuring out how to quit, I would have gone right back and been like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "That's amazing." You know, so like I just thought that's incredible. So it just warmed me up to being like, that's brilliant.
So with quick question, like you're talking about like you have these different pieces of content, right? And you're using retargeting so that way they're seeing a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and by the time they actually go to your landing page or whatever, they're ready to essentially buy. As far as that content, so like let's say I figured out for my product, my market or whatever, let's say it's 6 pieces of content or whatever it is. When you're doing the retargeting, do you have like a specific campaign? Like, okay, so I've got, let's say, maybe these 6 different retargeting ads out based on these different pieces of content I want them to see to warm up. And it's like if they've seen this one, then it shows. Is it that complex, or is it just like I'm just running these and then hopefully they see all of them? But if not, they're just gonna hit some of them.
If you want to lower costs and have higher conversions, then the more complex. Not complex, but like the more detailed, the better. So I currently have for each ad, I have about 17 different campaigns for one offer. And then I have different lead campaigns from that as well. So it's like, but the thing is, it's only costing me cents. So for example, I have certain audiences who have seen on my site. If you've been to my site and you haven't read a piece of content, I will target you to read Article 1. I mean, if you've read Article 1 and you've not opted in, I will target you to read Article 2. And if you haven't read Article 2 within X amount of time, a different ad will kick in where it starts to show you lead magnets and videos and things like that. I still try and push you towards the second article because if you read the second article, you're much more deeply involved and interested. Now,
because that one's like the success one, right? Like that's like the grand slam, that article, right?
Yeah, at the moment it's doing ridiculously well. I think it had like 20,000 reads in 5 days or something. It's crazy.
Wow. So this, okay, what I'm hearing is it sounds very similar to what like I would set up as an email autoresponder, where if you open this email, but you're doing that all inside of Facebook ads with retargeting.
Yes.
And that's why you're like smoking me with your multiple cents, because I'm setting up a ad with the stuff, and you're going there and you've got like these 17 ads, and it's all just that one ad. They go to your website, and there's like these 17 different ads that if they've done this, then go here. So like a super complex, almost like Infusionsoft or something. We use ActiveCampaign, Mike and myself, for stuff. You're recreating that whole thing inside of Facebook ads, and that's how, by doing all this stuff, that's how you're getting these super cheap conversion rates and being so successful.
That's it, man, and it's also it makes logical sense. We know I use ActiveCampaign as well. Like that's how you interact and talk with people, and you still don't have, unless you've got enterprise software, you still don't have all of that in availability. So you kind of have to try and figure out certain different ways to make things happen. But for example, for retargeting right now, CPC cost, if I want to do a Facebook ad or a Google ad, is $27. So if I wanted to get one click on an advert to get someone to come to my site for retargeting, it's $27, which is crazy. But if I wanted to retarget to them about my content, it'll cost me 4 cents.
So okay,
and a lot of people are not doing that, which is insane. It's like they're
it's
paying
a lot more work up front, and you have to really think about it. And I don't know why. Like that makes perfect sense. Like if I'm spending all this time in an autoresponder, why would I not do the same thing? Why do I think that if it takes me, just for example, 15 emails to warm them up to buy something after they opted in, why would it not take that much, if not more, from not even opted in on a Facebook ad? It's one of those, like, in hindsight now that you've said it, like, I'm all fired up. Right? Yeah, it seems obvious. I almost want to just like, okay, it's over. I got to go to work now. Like, we're done. I need to go
I know. Yeah.
So I'll give you a few extra tips. And this is part of like a course that I've got coming out because we had a lot of people ask. But it was, I found that a lot of people are not doing that right.
Before you go into that, Jared, you had it on here, and I hate to just cut you off real fast, but we got like 30 minutes to do this.
Yeah.
We wanted to just do just to promote MVP this week, Jared.
Yeah.
So I'll let you take that off and just be really quick. We'll jump back into it.
Yeah. So again, we really appreciate our members of Entrepreneurs Roundtable. Entrepreneurs Roundtable, search on Facebook, join. It's an awesome community, and we've been noticing that there's a handful of people who spend a lot of time helping others. They're not, maybe they get, it ends up being a referral later down the road or something, but that's not the whole reason they're doing it. They're there, they're answering stuff. In our first days, Mike was in there like every day posting like really good questions, links to people's questions, all kinds of stuff. So in the early days, Mike would have been the MVP
I'll just be the MVP today, thanks. You can stop there.
Yeah, exactly. But we have a lot of people, and so but we're going to start focusing on these and just call them MVPs because they're contributing so much, and there's so many, like I said, and we want to encourage that as well. It becomes more valuable. So today we want to focus just on, and because we've talked about her a lot, we'll just mention it quickly. But Sarah Moore, she's in there. She's posting almost every day. She's answering people's questions, specifically on the stuff that she knows. She's not, she doesn't ever spam with like my offer or whatever, but at the same time, if you're in the group for a week or two and you need social media help, you just know you'd be crazy not to use her because of how the great content she's doing, and it sets such a great example for other members of how to get in there and can both contribute, but also like really, if you want to know like how to get into a Facebook group and how to get leads off a Facebook group without just being spammy and getting kicked out, like go study how Sarah Moore posts in the Entrepreneurs Roundtable.
And she's genuine. That's the biggest thing, the takeaway I get from her. She's truly genuine, and I'll reach out to Sarah all the time on on Facebook Messenger, and I'm like, I'm stuck. I give up, and she's like, okay, well this, and then she doesn't just reply with an answer. It's like this huge fucking list of like step 1 to 20, and I'm like, holy Christ, and it's awesome. And then like I followed her on Periscope the other day because she's getting everyone in the group. She's really promoting it. I just signed in. I didn't even say anything. She's like, oh, hey, Mike. She's like, oh, Mike, Paleo Ryan. She like went off for like a minute. I was like, holy shit. And she did that, and I got 2 Twitter followers within like a second. I was like, oh my God. But so
the other cool thing she'll do is like if you are periscoping, because she just generally wants you to periscope because she thinks it's a great platform, not because she thinks there's something she can get out of it. I've seen her actually jump on other people who are starting out. Like Mike, a couple days ago, got on and was periscoping. and she was totally helping him. Like, she was sharing it, she was
Yeah.
like answering questions. So Mike's like doing his thing, and he knows there's only so much you can see and whatnot, and she's like in there. So I'm watching it, and like there's some stuff that he would miss, and she's like answering, and she's like, oh no, that's this and this, and she's like answering, helping out, and it was like
Yeah.
wow, she's awesome. So we wanted to just take a minute to highlight her and how much she's contributing to the group. And I'm sure even like if this is an example of what she's doing for free in her free time, what it must be like to actually be her client. So if you need social media help at all, specifically Periscope, but she's a social media strategist, definitely go check her out. The Sarah Moore,
Yeah.
find her in the group.
Yeah, she's definitely like an upcoming rock star where a year from now we're all gonna be like, holy crap, I can't believe how much she excels. It's kind of like, I mean, just to kind of jump back on Daniel, like me and Daniel, like I message him all the time too. I'm like, dude, I need help with this or whatever. And I just tell him all the time, I'm like, dude, I'm like, you're such a fucking rock star, man. I'm like, you know, you just see people just hustling all the time, you know. And Daniel's is like huge hustler. I mean, it's really inspiring to like watch this guy. But so all right, so just to jump back in, and you just caught us now, and you caught us halfway through. Daniel's been talking about retargeting and how it's been effective. He had a campaign he did for a client of his. They had a $114 buy-in, and they made about $19,000 in 48 hours selling wetsuits. So right now he was about to give us some information about some tidbits. So hopefully he remembers them, because I totally cut him off when he was about to dive into it. So I'll let Daniel start talking, and yeah.
I'll see if I can remember. So, what
We were
I
talking.
found from,
We were
like,
just
teaching myself.
okay. Okay, go.
Yeah.
I thought I was trying to lead you back
Okay.
into it.
Thank you. What I found, like, from kind of teaching myself retargeting through like trial and error and running case studies and things like that, is I would try a lot of things that people were not using, which seemed super obvious, like we're just talking now about autoresponders in an email sequence, and taking that same information and using that in a pattern to try and change people, to try and help people move along, to try and make them become a warm lead. And some of the things that I noticed as well, I'm testing right now, but you can use different psychological triggers as well, because not everyone buys for the same reason. You've got the 2% who are buying right now, and they've kind of overcome all those fears. And if you can kind of move them through all your different content to get to that point, hopefully they're going to overcome most of their questions. But what I've been testing recently is if you can have segmentation of messaging after a certain time an action has been taken. So instead of just me showing you this advert after a certain amount of time, if you don't respond to that advert, then I'm going to show you this one. And if you don't respond to that one, I'm going to show you this one. And it'll call out to different mental states that people have when they buy. You know, like some people buy because they want, it just makes sense. And some people buy because they feel they're going to miss out, or people move towards joy, or they move away from pain. And as entrepreneurs, we often move towards joy. We see the future, the big, bright future, and we move towards it. And one of the biggest problems we have is we try and advertise our products to people like that, whereas some business owners or ideal clients, they're actually moving away from pain. And you have to position it instead of the loss that they're having right now and how to stop that from happening. Whereas we say, okay, if you put in X amount of money, you're going to make this much money back. We have to say, okay, you're losing X amount and move it from there. And I found by showing different adverts, segmenting at different times for this, it works insane. So people will see my advert for this, not respond. They'll see my advert for that, all for the same product. But by repositioning it to their different mindset, you'll get a lot more clicks coming through. And it's not that they need to see each one. Some people are responding here, some people respond here, and some people are responding to this thing here. So it's like, not only do you have to understand your funnel and what do they need to do next, it's also what kind of mindset would they be in once they get to that point. So
yeah,
are they thinking that this is great and they want to buy it and use it? Are they maybe doubting that it works great for other people but it might not work for them? Are they thinking that, you know, I can't afford that right now, or does it make perfect sense? So if you can tailor different adverts based on that, you know, you can be talking to the same person. I know for a fact if I have a conversation with a client, it's going to be different to each person, but the product itself is almost the same, right? Like you're making animated videos. some people will want it for one reason, some people will want it for something else, but it's still the same end product, and so you're almost tailoring it to different types of buyers.
Yeah, yeah.
Targeting nonprofits to say you're going to make X amount of sales, those guys, that's not what they're interested in. But targeting it and segmenting and saying you're going to have so much more reach for your message that you're trying to get out there is going to work a lot better for those guys. And so I've been testing a lot of crazy, different ideas and seeing really, really, really good results with them.
Yeah, it's amazing the different pains that clients will have. So if I have a sales meeting where I can sit in front of them one-to-one, I literally will take them down a funnel and ask them real deep questions like, why am I here? What have you done to solve this? How much have you spent? What does a client cost to you? What is it personally doing to you? How, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at fixing this? And you really find out the real answers. So when people go in, that's the hard thing with doing advertisement online is you really need to know your client base and what their pains are. Like just pick 3 pains that they have, and you have to just answer that in those different ways, like you're saying, because that one thing doesn't resonate with you, but that other one, exactly the same exact product, but you're like, oh, I thought of it like this. Like now I see why this benefits me, because no one buys for you. Like no one cares about the person they're buying from. They care about the pain they're solving for themselves. And it's always pain related, always.
Yeah. And you, if you can then have these different things in place, because you're basically trying to automate a salesperson, right? With online, you're trying to bring them back to take an action. So if you can change your different methods of speaking to them, then you might resonate with one message better than another. Now, what if you go crazy detail and you now know that particular audience member responds to a certain type of message, going from a loss. In the future, if you ever have anything to offer them again, it would be pretty prudent to actually remember that one thing, and now you can say, okay, in the future, until they take an action where I can see that they're starting to moving towards joy instead of away from pain, I'm going to start positioning everything to them away from pain, And I can also segment my landing page based on each offer. So if I have one offer for one product, if those guys came in and they were interested in, stopping what's happening now, I need to be able to mention that on the landing page. I don't want the same landing page for the same offer for each person, because I need to be able to reinforce what was talked about in there, which made them take action. Wow. So this is kind of going to nth level.
So let's just say so for me as a business owner, the reason I hired you in the beginning when I told you on the phone was I like to hire experts to do what they do, because I know what needs to be done. When you have a business, you need your website looking pretty sweet. You need to get your SEO up. You need a good sales team. And then building the product, you need expert people. So when I built my company, it was based on outsourcing to the right people, and I brought you in for the SEO. I was like, you sold me, you live in this thing, you just constantly, I see you on Facebook, you're answering my questions for free, as a friend, you're publishing all this stuff, you're getting mentioned. I was like, holy shit, this guy's all over the place. And you took it from there. So for someone to come in and start all this stuff, are there different levels where you target to, where you're a starting off business with an idea, and I have this just thing that I do for you, which is this much money, and then there's the bigger businesses, because I could see a Fortune 500 hiring you to consult and just doing a 6-month campaign for them and making them trying to make a couple $100 million or something with this.
Well, I haven't worked with anyone on this who hasn't made double their money back within the first 2 days of hiring, kind of thing, which is crazy. I don't want to put that on the sales letter because it's a lot of work sometimes. But there's definite tiers, and one of the things, I've been working with a lot of direct marketers, which is some of the principles that I've been putting in there. Gotta love second-hand bookstores, right?
Yeah.
So I'm taking organic inbound approach and content, and I'm using direct marketing principles to build funnels and go from there. So my my products at the moment are to try and help the people who can't afford me. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then from there, hopefully,
Daniel's officially dying on Hangouts.
I've been assassinated. From there, I'm giving away too many trade secrets. I just like, get him.
Yeah. Activate the pill.
Yeah. And so it's like.
So people who can't afford your service, like you giving them like blog posts and articles and Facebook groups, and that's like helping them. So when they start to make the money, you're like, all right, cool. Now we have a base. Hire me, and I'll now catapult this. But you just need your foot in the door.
And now they can afford it, and they can move along. And some of that came from, you need to be attracting the right kind of client. And I know that like when you're a new entrepreneur and things, you kind of want to work with absolutely everyone out there. And you'll find that I know working with Mike, one of the easiest clients I had. Because it's just like, okay, get the results, tell me what's happening, and then that's it. And that's the kind of client that you want to have, because then I can spend time working with you. And anyone who was on a lower price point than that was almost 3 times the amount of work, 3 times the amount of interaction, a lot of hand-holding and, all that kind of stuff, which is fair enough. People are not at that point yet in their business. Yeah. So I'm trying to offer a lot of free content and there's some paid content as well, which will get them to the point where they can actually afford me. And because of that, I'm actually using it to validate the person as a client. If they want to hire me, then hopefully they came through that point and they'll see the price. Like right now, I don't do any campaign for less than 10,000 US, and then that's like the starting point.
Nice.
And we had 300 different applications at that point, which is crazy, right? So people were then. We got into like a bidding war with people, which was just an awesome few days. And people were throwing in kinds of extras and stuff, which isn't an entry-level price at all. You need to kind of either have a business making some kind of money at that point, which is why it's priced there. Like that way, then I'm only dealing with people who, if I retargeted for you and I'm sending a lot of people back, maybe your site is missing this. It doesn't have product. It doesn't have the right message. It doesn't have something else. So
it's like you're also not. It's like at the same time though, there's a lot of value in what you're doing. You're not just setting up the campaign for them. You're brainstorming what literally works in all these avenues, and then looking at what they don't have and saying you have to fix this and do this, and so you can see all of that. So if anyone was watching this and they heard you say $10,000, like, oh, what's so much? It's like, fuck that. Like, that's value. Like, because it's not the $10,000 you're going to spend. It's the thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars you're going to gain. So if a company is spending that, they're going to gain so much fucking money back.
That's it. And like some of the people that I'm working with, a single sale is worth more than that. And if I can even increase their conversions by 1%, then they're going to make a lot more money on there. But I've got friends who do this as well at different stages, and they charge a lot more. They're talking 25, 50,000, 100,000 to do this. The retargeting on its own isn't the only thing that we're doing. So I actually have a price point above that, and I'm actually helping them say, okay, we've gone through the funnel. You're missing this. You need X amount of content. You don't have that content, so let me help you create it. Let me help you promote it, and that's SEO work as well, kind of thing from there. And then now we're going to build a funnel around it and build like self-liquidating offers in there. A lot of people focus on their product and nothing else. So like the guys are selling wetsuits. They're not pushing anything in between. So all their paid ads are coming up, and it's a lot more expensive product, so it costs a lot to advertise too. If they're advertising for a different offer and more than breaking even on that advert, it doesn't matter if they make a profit, because they're creating customers and they're creating buyers and they're creating email lists to then sell to their next offer and the next offer. So you need to be able to bring them in at a lower point and move them across from there. It's funny to say we do have like much higher price points after this, but even if you take just the free content that we have on the site, you're going to see a return. Like one guy, he took the flash sale in the second article. We pretty much broke down the entire thing of how we sequence this event to do a sale on an e-commerce site. And he did it for a client, and the client did over 10 grand in the first couple of hours. you know.
Jeez.
And it's not I'm not it's not like a get rich quick button. He had to add content, he had to create campaigns and landing pages and everything else.
Okay, so that
But
just
they
lead
just-
into that. Like, how much time does it take? I mean, this is a very broad question, but say you did a campaign where you wanted to like do a Facebook ad into a landing page and then retarget them. Like, say like someone was like, I'm gonna do one ad to a landing page and just retarget them with a video. Are you like, that's a bad idea? You should create 3 pages like this and then retarget from here?
You can. The thing is, no one is doing retargeting simply because a lot of the information out there is by big businesses just telling you how to use their software. Even if you cut everything out and all you did was advertise your product to people, which is what a lot of people do, you can see up to 30% more sales. You know, even if you're just kind of like, buy my stuff constantly, like all
That's
over.
Jared's approach usually.
You know,
That's how
like,
Jared
it
sells.
still works. So if you're just starting out, just do that. You know, make sure it doesn't get over. You got to make sure they don't get ad fatigue and they see it too many times and it starts to lose any kind of benefit. But even if you just do that, you know, you're going to see more sales. But the more you can segment and the more you can tailor your message to that person, the better results you're going to have for a much lower cost.
If I didn't have video and I just had text, would you say it's still effective?
We only ran 2 videos on the wetsuit campaign, and they didn't even advertise the wetsuits. It was people just surfing while wearing them, and that was it.
So, just a quick kind of to take some of what you said and put it back into an application. So, like right now, I have an ad that is running, and it's actually doing really well. And it's just a very basic, simple. I must have hit like the targeting or something like right spot on because the ad's working better than it should. And all it is it's a Facebook ad, and you know it poses the question, you know, that kind of thing, and then it goes to the landing page, and it's just for opt-ins. It's for a free 4-day video course. And I just have it running kind of in the background. At first, I spent like 3 weeks really tinkering with it until it just hit this sweet spot, and I've been leaving it. And like I said, it's just working really well. But from what you're saying is even just at a very minimum, just by doing something as simple as retargeting, because I can see on there the analytics. Like I have a very high, I think it's like 40% or more of the people. Maybe it was 60. I have to check it, but it was a high amount. It was about 50% of the people who visit are actually opting in for the free course. But just by spending the time to like retarget the people who aren't opting in, and then having a secondary ad that maybe brings up like a secondary concern, or so like if that ad, if maybe I'm saying like, here's the positive result, you know, because it's basically saying sell more stuff of, you know, hitting their market. So maybe if I take that 50% and retarget them with a stop losing sales, just doing that, you're saying I could get like a 30% more increase by adding that one piece to my ad.
I basically run 4 different mindsets. So you've got to think like what brought them in. So you're probably doing an offer for them to make more sales.
Mm-hmm.
And when they opt into the course, it's going to teach them that. I do 4 mindsets. So like the most positive one is that they want your stuff and they didn't do it right now because maybe they're busy and they forgot, or you know the phone rings, or they got to walk the dog or something like that. So like that's the most positive option. And so almost immediately I would be, hey, did you forget to do this? This is still available. Don't forget to get this, right? And even that is going to convert well. Then I try and look at what other reasons why they wouldn't buy. And there's basically 3 different mindsets. You've got the people who don't believe that you can do it or that they can do it. You've got the people who are kind of like they procrastinate on it and they'll never take action on it until you kind of really kick them in the ass to do it. And then you've got the people who are very they don't really care. They don't understand why they should actually worry about it. Okay. So it's like, say they came there and they're not the people who were busy and didn't buy. The next people would be I would try and target and try and get into the mindset of them, you know, like I'm acting here kind of thing, you know, get into the mindset. It's like if they're worrying that they don't think you can do it or they don't think they can do it, what kind of message would I need to tell them? And so maybe I could advertise to them a testimonial of people who've done it so far and seen results. And that's social proof that they're seeing you again. So this is the benefit of retargeting as well. The more they see you, the more you're seen out there, and you seem a lot bigger business than you are, and an authority. So you've got that one thing going for you anyway. But then if you're targeting them with testimonials, they're going, okay, well, yeah, it works for them. What if then you have another message to them saying, it's very simple. You just follow these steps. You're only going to need a couple of hours a week to do this. Okay, well, that's not too bad. I can understand that. Now I'm not so worried about not being able to see a result. This guy, he showed me he's got a result. I can give a few hours. What have I got to lose? And that's how you're going to bring that person back. And then it could be the next person who, again, you've got to move them away from the fear of losing X amount of sales. So it could be you retarget to them, but over, I like to sequence these. So the first ads they should see are the ones who are possibly the best buyers who didn't get it. And then it's the people who are worried about they didn't get it. And then it's kind of like the procrastinators and stuff. It's like, if you'd have downloaded this a week ago, like on average, X amount of people have already got this. Nice. And they've already seen these results. So if you'd have done it a week ago, what's the math on that? How many new sales would you have seen? How many new customers would you have seen?
Yeah.
How many new articles have you read on different stuff? If you'd have just taken action on this one, you would have seen X amount of change. And what difference would your business or your life be this week compared to last week? So how much of a change do you want it to be the following week, It's
brilliant.
Yeah.
And just tailoring your ads around that. And you'll be surprised how many more people opt in. I'm actually doing this for a lead magnet right now. And some people are opting in for like 22 cents. Which is incredibly low email opt-ins. And so I'm bringing people back into there and making the sale. So I don't know how much you know about direct marketing, and this is kind of off topic, but those people who opt in, they've said like a small yes. It's almost like getting the girl to go around to go for the coffee and then to the club and then for a drink and then outside and then back inside and things like that. So you've got them to go to the content, you've got them to see your landing page, you've got them to say yes. They've already said like 3 yeses to you. Statistically, like 10-20% of those people will say yes again if you offer them something. And that's why, I don't have the book down here, Perry Marshall is talking about like Starbucks sells $5,000 coffee machines and they also sell $2 coffees. It's because some people want more from you, and the only reason you're not making more sales from them is because you're not offering stuff to them. Basically, not everyone is going to want that, but I could offer you the 10 grand service and you make the sales, okay, but now for 25, we're going to go into this and we're going to get you a heap of traffic. All right, cool, now for 50, I'm going to meet with you 3 times a year. We're going to strategize, I'm going to take you out on a boat, and and we're going to kick ass and these things. And those guys, not everyone will take it, but someone will. And by not offering that 50K thing, I'm losing sales. So if you have like a small offer after the opt-in, you could statistically turn 10% of those guys into a sale, even if it's $1. Because if they bought something from you, they're 40% more likely to buy from you again. So you just have to get that one thing sold, right? So say you have your 4-week course, it's leading into this thing that's coming out soon, and or maybe it's already there, and say, okay, I've got a $400 course coming out. It's super advanced. It goes into all the details and templates and everything else. You can be on the waiting list to get it at this price. All I ask you to do is pay $1, to get on there now. And people will pay that because it just makes total sense. I'm going to save $200 when it comes out. And what you're doing is you're qualifying them as a member, but you're also qualifying them as a buyer, which is huge, because then you can advertise to those guys a lot harder because they have said, I am interested, I've read the thing, I've opted in, I've paid $1. I'm waiting for you to give me this thing. I want this thing as soon as it can, And it's almost like you're pre-validating the sale, almost like the How to Make Your First Dollar course, You're making sure that you're taking money before you make it almost. If you can do that there, 10% of them, even cold traffic, 10% will opt in, So if you're getting 40% of opt-ins from there, you could be missing out on thousands of dollars of money, which isn't the main thing. You could be missing out on finding out who your warm lead is, and then you could email all those people on that warm lead and say, okay, thanks for opting in and I'm building this course. What are the things that you really want, because they are your ideal customer, and then you can move on from there and to the next thing and to the next thing and to the next thing. I got buddies doing funnels like this and making a fortune, but it doesn't really matter. They're putting that money back in to funnel more people into their traffic, to then get more emails to come in so that they can find out, yeah, I can make a couple of sales here and I can make a couple of sales off this course, but I'm getting a lot more of those people who are my ideal one-on-one consultants coming through, because they're going to be 1 out of 100 or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I've got 100 more coming in, and I could spend that money which I got off this initial offer, and now I've got one more person, and then I can spend all those coming in, and then I've got a next person and a next person. So there's kind of like inception level craziness.
I think for anyone who out there who's a business owner or an entrepreneur, like every time I hear stuff like this, it gets me fired up. I'm like, I just want to go do this like right now. Like, I just want to go and apply this tactics and just fucking kill it like right now. If you're an entrepreneur and watching this, you're probably like feeling the same way. If you're not, you're like, I don't understand what he's talking about. This is like, yeah, it's like, if you're like a scientist, like listening to some physics thing, I'd be like, what the fuck is he talking about? But yeah, dude, this is amazing.
That's the thing, right? I'm going into like, I'm not talking about top of funnel. We started off the conversation with just basic retargeting, you know, and a lot of those guys will be interested, and maybe they'll buy my course. But then we started to go into advanced funnels and conversion and sequencing. And so the people who stay on the call for they're a lot more likely to then buy the course. And then when I start talking about pricing and like crazy ways that you can make more money in your business, the final few people who I haven't offended, you know, or whatever, they're going to stay on. Those are my ideal customers.
Yeah.
You know, like if I put up my email at the end, like a webinar kind of thing, how many people would email me to buy? Yeah. Kind of thing, you know? And that's what you need to be doing with your business, when you're segmenting, with your sequencing, with your content. I don't care about top of funnel content for SEO too much if I can put an offer in place that is covering my costs to bring people back in. I do want it because it's attracting the right people. I'm not having to convert them from day one. They're already interested in how to make more sales in their business, so straight away they've already got a business, they're making sales, you know, I can bring them in. Yeah, and then I go into all that depth from there, and the people who hit this here, they've already qualified themselves as new clients, right? So it moves on. Sorry, I can talk about this for hours and hours and hours and hours.
I mean, it's just like it's all fundamentals of sales. You know, it's easier to get repeat business because they trust you and the product worked for them, and to sell them more stuff. I mean, that's like the main thing I would get when I was doing Sandler sales training in Jersey. They would literally be like, go after the clients you already have and just call them up on the phone, see what's going on, tell them, you know, see how they're doing, jig them out to coffee, then just kind of throw in there like, you know, we got this going on, I don't know if you're dealing with this, but it's like just that comfort level just exists. It always exists. It's like your favorite band. Once you establish, like, I could say to you, go listen to this band, they're called Balance and Composure. I'm like, go listen to them right now. You're going to be like, oh, okay, cool, I appreciate that. And then you won't, because you're like, I don't really know who this band is. But then something will trigger you down the line, and maybe on Facebook, someone will post about them. You're like, oh, I remember Mike saying that, so that's touch 2. Like, oh, it's interesting. And then maybe you'll take the action there, or you won't. But as soon as you do, and like, let's say, because I was like, you like this band, you will love this band. The moment you check them out and that band, that song resonates with you, you're going to listen to them every day. You're going to want to buy the CD. You're going to want to go spend money to go see them. Like, you will buy all the other things because you are their biggest, you are a fan now, right? So if you buy a product, it helps you in some way. Like, you listen to music, it emotionally, it benefits you. If you buy an iPhone, it emotionally benefits you because you're keeping in contact. You can call your friends. You can text all the time. It's just cool. So you got like that. You just feel like I have an awesome thing. So like once you have that attachment, you will stay to a company. You will stay utilizing it as long as it's still solving a problem for you.
That's it, man. And just throwing out random statistics. Like big business, they understand that the majority of their profit, of their sales, comes from customers they already have.
Yeah.
Because it's much easier to make more sales. So I think it's something ridiculous. Like 80% of your sales will come from people you've already sold to before. And a lot of entrepreneurs will just focus on getting that person in, getting that person in, getting that person in. And there's no follow-up kind of thing, you know. And we've all been there, so I understand it. But it's like, if you can then, what can I offer you next? What can I offer you now? What is the next thing that's going to benefit you 10x value that I can give you, you know, you're going to make so many more sales, and it's much, much easier, you know. Like, I would love, me and Mike have been talking about like a project that he's got going on. I want to make it a smash hit so that Mike is making crazy money, because then Mike can pay me crazy money, right? And then we can go to the next level and the next level.
And it's okay to say that, though. Be like, normally, if someone was looking for clients, they'd say, I don't know if I could say this, but because we have such a good rapport, I'm like, if I'm killing it, I want you to take the lead, and I'll throw stupid money at you to keep it going. Like, we can have that open conversation. So it's not this whole, I don't know if I could say this to a client. It's like, fuck yeah, you can say this to a client if you have a good relationship.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that on the initial transaction, you know. I'm going to charge you so much money, you know.
I want you spending $10,000 a month
make money
on
back.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, like, I just, I don't know how much information I can give. I just signed a client yesterday, and we're still going through the final parts of the proposal. And I openly said to them, you know, I'm talking to them about funnels and how it's much easier to make a second sale after the first one. And so we're talking about retargeting, and it is a 10,000 client plus other stuff. And we're going for all these proposals, and I was like, look, give me $100, and I'll put in 1 hour of very basic retargeting. I need like access to this, this, and this, and this, and then $100. Before he'd even paid me, he's now already put in the proposal to his bank for it, you know. So he's set it up. He's like, suddenly he's got my bank details, and he's a client. He has got I've got access to the back end of all the stuff that I need and everything else. So the only next step after that is just
rob 'em blind.
Okay, right? That's it. So it's like, that $100 is nothing really compared to the main price, and already he's seeing return from it, because I make sure that I don't give him a $100 service. I give him $1,000 service in that thing, you know, to show just what is capable, what we can do from there. And it's you know, he emailed me like 3 times yesterday, kind of thing. Okay, I've got this. This is set up. That's that. Super pumped, you know, kind of thing from there. And getting that first initial sale. And I know for a fact that I'm going to probably be working with him for the next 5 years, kind of thing, because he's going to make enough sales to pay for it. We're going to do that from there. And he works with really, really big clients as well. And he's like, if it works, I'm going to refer you to all my friends as well. You know, referral marketing, huge.
Yeah, referrals, that's like 90% of Drive 80 was referrals. Just someone, hey, I heard from somebody, and I was like, holy shit, you know, and then I was like, thank God. But, I mean, that's huge. Once you have them, go back to your clients, try to sell them, and always ask them for a referral. You know, I was even doing that in the retargeting thing I'm doing right now. I did a video it's retargeting them once they come to drive80.com. It's going back to them and saying like, hey, you were just at the site, and just re-establishing that pain. Like, you know, I don't know if you're like the rest of our clients, but if you're frustrated that people don't get what your company does, you might want to think about animation. And even the video, I was like, and maybe if you don't, maybe you know someone who does, send them our way. You know, so as even if I don't know them, I ask for the referral, because they might go, you know what, I actually know Jim from blah, 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 who actually said the other day that same thing. Let me show him this thing, you know.
That's it. And it might even be Jim's friend was searching for help for Jim because he knew Jim was stuck. And he's like, oh, I know that I've read an article and videos are really going to help, and now he's searching for a solution. And then he finds it. So it's like, there is always different levels. I would personally, like, for your price point, there's all different things that you could do, but I would humanize the brand straight away and just be like, hey, I'm Mike. You know, I run Drive 80. I know you were on there looking for these things. You've probably got a few questions and things like that. Here's my contact details. Reach out to me. We'll have a coffee over Skype, you know? No kind of big deal. And then you've broken down that first barrier.
Yeah.
Rather than having to, you know, if they've came to you already, then they've been looking at advertising, they're looking at videos, they're looking at animation. So because you're quite niche, they're probably already far down that line. Yeah. They're just making choices now. And if you can retarget to them and get them to pick you because, oh yeah, like that guy is a real person. I understand him and what he's doing. It's not going to hurt, you know. He's messaged to me on here. Here's his details, you know.
Here, real quick, actually, that's exactly exactly what I did. I created an email campaign. Going back to Jared was saying before, I created an email campaign yesterday through Mailchimp for Drive80, and it was like the initial one. Here's a free download, and then it was going back with taking case studies of clients we did and said, like, you know, do you understand? Are you having problems with accounting? It's like, well, here's this video we did for this client that explained to their clients. And then the next one, then like, and I target to like every 2 days, I think it's going to fire off at them. So I'm going to test if it should be a week or 2 days. But the last email, it's going to be me talking to them in a video and saying like, hey, you know, I put you through this whole email campaign, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I also did another video for my retargeting thing that I'm going to do to put up there, which leads into my next thing, which we probably got to wrap this up, I guess. I don't have shit to do, but I don't know if anyone's still watching it. But besides, you know, grow a business. Are there people out there, they probably have a fear, if they're going to do a video with retargeting, they might want to do high quality or they might want to use their phone. So what if
I film on my laptop, sat exactly where I am.
Actually, yeah, that's right, you did.
Yeah, so it's like there's some school of thought at the moment that kind of overly produced doesn't always stand out. You want to get that interrupt, right? And if it's a video of me sat here like this, it's not in front of a whiteboard, I'm not selling, you know, because if I was very new to it and you saw me talking to in front of a whiteboard, you'd be like, okay, well, yeah, brilliant. I want to talk to that guy because he's an authority. But I'm only retargeting people who've already come through at a certain stage of this video. Right. So they've seen my face X amount of times already, and all that. So I'm breaking down the barrier and saying, hey, I saw that you were looking at that, and you did this, and you did this. And I can call out to them as well because obviously I'm doing retargeting, so they know that I'm the retargeting guy. You know, you don't always want to do that. You don't always be saying, hey, I just watched everything you did online with on my website, you know? Because then they're just like, ah! You know, like.
I actually, in my retargeting video, I said, hey, you were just at my website, which means I just retargeted you, which is kind of creepy, but whatever. You know, like it was just being honest. You know, because they might
appreciate that as well.
But they also might think of like, shit, how could I utilize this? How can we have our website have an animation? And then how can we retarget with a video of what's his face?
I cut out for me there a sec.
Yeah, the screen froze when you're doing this amazing face, by the way. Yeah, like, so what I was saying is that when someone goes to my site and they would see that we do animation, they leave, I retarget them, because I'm going for like marketing directors. It would target them on Facebook with a video of me saying, hey, you were to my site, doing retargeting. They might go, oh man, like, we could do a campaign where we use advertising and retarget with video. So it could be the high production thing that's on the site that says what we do, but when they leave, it could be the CEO of the company or the head of marketing or the head of sales being like, hey, you just have the site. Like, I'm the guy who owns the company or the woman who owns the company. I don't know. You should, you know, reach out to us. So I think that they might go, oh, I could do that campaign as well, you know. So it just opens up these different doors depending on who it is. You know?
It's another touch as well, and it's like if it was just a text ad, then it's not as personable kind of thing, and so you're breaking down a barrier straight away because it's scary to get in front of the camera, right? And and people appreciate that when they see that you're in front of the camera, especially when you're not in this fully lit, you know, Canon SDS like shot shoot with things with like velociraptors walking in the background and stuff. You know, it's real low budget. So you can be like, if you can be super low budget and just say, hey, you know, I just want to have a chat. You know, if you're at that point and you're ready to chat, here's my details. If you're not right now, you know.
And it's like I said, it's personal too. So it's breaking down that third wall, and people love when they see people in their own comfortable element, and you know, it just makes them feel more attached to them. In a certain way. So yeah. So I guess that answers my question from earlier when I was like, should you use text or video? I've been sold on $2,000 worth of shit just from text on a website because they worded it so well. But there's also I've been sold through video, you know. But I think if you're text,
you write, has higher conversions.
Yeah, I mean, if you're writing shit though, if you can't write well, then you should just get on video and talk. That would probably be my advice.
Facebook is actually prioritizing video now over text as well. They openly admitted it in like a marketing webinar that they did. where they're really pushing it. So here's one thing that we haven't said, but don't upload a video that's on YouTube or somewhere else. Like, that's going to work and it's great. You actually want the raw file uploaded to Facebook, and they'll give that precedence. So I think Pat Flynn did one where he boosted a post that was on YouTube, and he uploaded on Facebook. Sorry, he shared a file that was on YouTube to Facebook and boosted it, and then he uploaded the file itself, and within 12 hours it was almost like a 30x difference in views because of the amount of times that they've shown it over this one. You know, because they want their stuff to be shown. So if like one thing straight away is like make sure the video is uploaded to the Facebook platform itself, not a shared link or anything like that.
Okay, so when you're doing the retargeting video, make sure it's uploaded to Facebook.
Any videos, basically. Absolutely any videos. They're going to show it to a lot more people for a lot less money.
Wow.
At this moment in time, you know, they're probably going to change it tomorrow and they'll change something else again the next day. But right now that works a lot more effectively. Video does have a higher click-through. You're getting a lot of views. You're getting put in front of people without kind of, you know, annoying them and things. But text as well can do this. I did an article. It's called the Facebook Phishing Formula, which I thought was a great name for like basic retargeting. It seems a bit scammy now that I think about it, but it's real simple how to add your pixel, how to start tracking, and then I even go through Canva and how you can use Canva in about 6 minutes for free to like drag and drop files and make an ad, and it's the right size, and then you just upload it to Facebook, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're just starting out and you're one of those entrepreneurs who's just got that product, even if you're just getting back in front of people, even if you're just showing them social proof and testimonials, you know, something like that, it's gonna pay off.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get a sale from it, you know? Like so many people, it's crazy. So many people will pay $2,000 for a sales letter or $10,000 for a video or anything else, and then they don't put any budget behind actually showing it in front to people. You know, they're like, oh, but it's costing me $1.45 a day. Dude, like, you got to get it in front of as many people as possible to actually make the sale, you know?
Yeah.
If you can target and get the right people, then it's going to work. But what I love about retargeting at the moment is it's like 10x less than it needs to be. Like, this guy came to me and he's like, okay, I've got a $35,000 budget for retargeting. I'm like, just for the ads, not including the fee and stuff. And I was like, dude, you're probably not going to need that. You know, it's great that it's there if we need it, and you're getting a lot of traffic to come through. But just say you want to show an ad 15 times to someone, you get 100 people come in. It's going to cost you $1.50 maybe per person to get to that point if you do it right. You know, so unless you've got tens of thousands of people coming through, you don't need the huge budget in there. You know, like when I did the first $1,200 for $2, only 20 people had visited that page, you know, and it was all on automation, and then the payments just came through. So it's just like, oh, someone's bought this $300 product, you know, and all it was like an advert for the product. It was super basic. There was no segmentation or anything. It was like you landed on the page, you looked at the thing you didn't buy. Hey, here's that thing to buy again, you know, and it works. But when I started to segment and do it better, I got past all the fears, all the questions that were coming through the emails, and it was just boom, like gangbusters. The more people who saw the page, the more people were buying, not on first transaction, but a week later, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's almost like that guy or that company who called you out for not having, you know, with the $20 buy-in to get $1,200 of sales. It was almost in a way of, it actually benefited you that they did that because it made you
definitely
blast into that.
Definitely. I actually wrote the post as well as a guest post for someone, and they never got back to me about posting it kind of thing. And in the end, I was just like, it's really crazy. I reached out to a few people on inbound marketing space. I was like, hey, I'm writing this article. I'd love if you just checked it over. It's not live yet. Tell me what you think. Like, some of the images need changing and stuff. And what happened is one of those guys actually posted it live with a link to it, and so I couldn't do the guest post for this person. I was like, shit. You know, I wrote it for someone, and now it's live on my website. And because it got a lot of traffic, it wasn't even like I could delete it again because it was just like crazy amounts of traffic by getting it in front of the right people.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things. It's like, is it a problem? No, not really, I guess. You know, it's actually a good thing.
If it gives you money, it's not a problem. Jared, what are your thoughts, man? We're way over.
Yeah, we're over. This has been great stuff, and rather than having you just continue to give away stuff for free, I mean, I feel like I've gotten two amazing things out of this. So, one is the little notes I took that I'm just going to go out and do to my ad. Like, I'm going to set up those 4 retargeting to that, give or take 50%.
Do it, man.
I'm going to do that. I was going to cancel the ad and do another one, but instead I was like, you know what? It was already working great. I'm going to do this, and then I'm also going to come up with, what you talked about before. Is like I want to come up with this master plan like you did, where it's like all the different ads for actually a product Mike and I are working on that we'll be talking about more later, and sequence it out. And
I have so many of these, like full funnel kind of thing. Like here's how they come in, and this point from here, and that point from there, and where to go from here kind of thing.
I'm listening. I'm looking over at my whiteboard. I'm like, I'm gonna need a bigger whiteboard so I can draw out this this funnel of all the retargeting and stuff. So I'm super fired up. I'm ready to go take action on it. But rather than again having you go on for another hour with just giving your time away, how can people work with you? So 2 things. One, let's say I'm like $10,000, no problem. You're the guy. What's the best way to contact you to set that conversation up? And then 2. You've mentioned you've got some courses coming out, and if I'm sitting here just going, I want these courses, what's the best way to get on your list or to be notified basically when these courses come out? Or do you have anything I can buy right now? Take a few minutes, man, and just promote yourself. How can we do these things?
Okay. Well, I'm literally building the product today. That's what after this, maybe I'll go for a jog thing, but I'm actually building the whole thing. I've been testing a lot of ideas. So you can find me at inboundascension.com. ASCENSION.com. I like to make it difficult for you to find my website.
Did you change that, by the way? Because it was Two Trees for a while. Did you now move over? Okay.
So Inbound Ascension was part of a 66-day challenge. It's still going, where I wanted to set up. Whenever I've taken action on things that I'm scared of, I've always seen great results, and the fear of the thing is never as bad as it was, right? Yeah. I haven't built the product yet because it's what if people don't like it or whatever else? So people are not going to like it, but 90% are going to love it, and it's going to help them get more sales, right? So I'm just taking huge action on these things. So I found the retargeting methods that I love and what I was doing, and I was like, you know what? I'm doing really well at this. I'm going to be that dude. I'm going to be the guy who talks about retargeting and nothing else. And that's why I set up that site. Within 16 days, that article had gone live, and we'd had 20,000 views. And it's that's how you just got to take action on those things that you are scared of, man, because it's even if you build a product and a funnel today and then retargeting sucks, you can go out and you can change the image, you can change the copy, you can change everything else. But even if it sucks and you make 1 sale, it's it took you 30 minutes to get to that point to now make an automated sale. Yeah. Now, if you put an hour in, what if you make 3 sales, So, yeah, I'm over at inboundascension.com, and I'm just talking about retargeting for now. I want to get into, how to make repeat systems and upsell systems for your business as well, but I've got a lot of stuff I want to talk about just on this one subject for now. And you can find the content. It's on the front page. It's just the 2 articles right now. I'm on Twitter, inboundascend, so that might be easier to find me from there. Each of the articles has got opt-ins of upgrades. So it's if you read the article, you can enter your email and you can watch an entire video of it being done and all that kind of stuff. So that's a really easy way to get on the sequence. And there's a link in the header as well, so you can see this course. If you want to get hold of me, it's convert@inboundascension.com, or you can just simply find on there. This is the crazy thing. I didn't have any of that in place with these guys that contacted me for clients. When the article went live and it went insane, these guys Googled me. They found me on LinkedIn. They found across from there. They found this new domain and the email address. So it's the people who'd gone through all that trouble to find it. I was just well, I'm pretty sure that's a sale.
How much does that cost? I can't pay that. You're you just went through the jungle in fucking South America to find me here.
That's it, man. So it's I've got this course coming out because I just literally don't have enough time to work with everyone. And also, a lot of the stuff I'm going to give away. The main benefit of working with me is not that I'm going to do the work for you. It's that you've got my brain ticking away behind the gears, like trying to figure this stuff out. And we're going to do it for you and everything else. But I'm trying to give away as much of that in advance in the course and in the content. Like, if you wait 18 months, you're probably going to find all that content for free on the site in one shape or form, and you can take it all and figure it out. But if you want to get it right now, sign up to the list, and I want to get it out this week. So it's like, it is my goal to get this done this week because I have a lot of the things to get on from there. Well, and I'm going to add to it and tweak it.
It's Red Pill Week in the Entrepreneurs Roundtable.
That's it, man. And like, I've been on this gangbusters for like 30 days now, and it is crazy. If you do the thing that you're most scared of every day, what is going to change?
Yeah.
Like, absolutely going to change. Like 2 years ago, I worked in a surf shop, which is insane. I consult now for one of the biggest. I can't give too many details, but I consult for a company. And I don't even do the work now, and I get paid $249 an hour just for like to sit on Skype and be like, okay, cool. Well, I need to change this, and this. And I'm like, awesome, thanks, Dan. And then I'm like, thank you very much. And I love it because it's like I'm getting to test all these ideas and look at these things, and I'm helping their business. And for $240, they're making 10, 20 grand over the next week, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But sorry, I've had like this. It says tea, but this is like pure kind of espresso because of the time of day here. Like the sun's just kind of rising up now. I'm like,
mug of tea. That's amazing.
Well, hey, I just want to thank you again for coming on, just for all this stuff. Like, I feel like this could have been like almost like one of those, like a Mixergy paid like master course or something that you have to like, pay to get access to. This was awesome. So thank you so much. And again, if you're interested at all, definitely contact me. If you've been watching this for more than 10 minutes, you know this guy's the real deal, and he knows what he's doing. So really quick, as we wrap this up, I want to just kind of give a quick preview, since we're getting a little more organized now, we actually have a guest scheduled for next week. So I'm going to have Mike say something about that really quick. And then at the end of next week, so next week's going to be a little bit of a special episode, where at the end of it, after our guest is done, Mike and I are going to spend a few minutes revealing something that we've been working on, which we've kind of been teasing. If you're in the group, you might have an idea of what it's about because we've been asking some questions and and whatnot. But so we'll be spending some time next week going a little bit more into detail about that, so you don't want to miss that. That's going to be pretty cool. So, but Mike, who do we have on next week?
So next week we've got a buddy of mine. His name, he calls himself Fat Tony. He used to work for BMX Magazine, doing photographs for them for like 6 years. Now he's really gotten into CrossFit. He's on the floor. He was on the floor for the CrossFit Games, doing their photography. So he does. He really focuses on photography and video. So he's got a bunch of things going on, but he's really big into CrossFit. Has a lot of connections to BMX and all that, and he also has a podcast. Which I was actually on, like weeks ago. It's the Expansion Project, and he's trying to inspire people with their lives, and he's got amazing guests on it. He had Dave Mira on it. He had what's his name, the drummer from Fall Out Boy. He was on as a guest like about a month and a half ago. Because he's a vegan CrossFitter, and Fat Tony's a vegan CrossFitter, so that should be a really good one. And I'll probably just, I don't know, I don't really know what to ask him because he does so much, so I might just dive into the whole podcasting thing and how he's established it and how he's grown it from there, but it might kind of just maybe teeter a little bit into CrossFit, maybe a little bit into being a vegan and photography, so it should be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm excited because I actually listened to that conversation. And the guy's really cool. I mean, he's very energetic. Just listening to him interview you, it was a great episode. It was very entertaining. So I'm excited, like you said, because we don't know 100%. Like, we're kind of veering a little bit off because it's normally like, okay, today we're talking about SEO, or today we're talking about Periscope. And this is like, you know what? You're really interesting, and you have an interesting business. You got your business stuff. There's the podcasting. There's like you said, the vegan CrossFitting. So it's like, let's just jump in and talk about it. And it's more like a jump into the life of like this entrepreneur and kind of see, like, again, a slice of his life. I think it's going to be more. I'm sure we'll get some tactics and what out of it, which is what we normally focus on. But I think this is going to be one of those that are also going to be very inspiring, where we're going to like be like, dude, this guy's life's awesome. How can I go make my life more awesome? Yeah,
it is cool. It's actually a really cool story. I won't dive into it, but how we met and then from the point we met, which was December of last year, January, and then how from there to me literally sitting on his couch in Long Beach getting interviewed for his podcast. So it's just crazy, and he had a huge effect on my decision to start traveling the world and stuff. And well, for now it's the country, but it's pretty cool. So we'll probably dive into that too.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm so excited. Like I already have my day planned, but I almost want to just like wipe my board clean and go redo all my retargeting stuff and work on the ad and everything. So I'm super stoked. So thank you again, Daniel, so much just for all the awesome content you brought us.
Yeah, dude.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
You're very welcome. Thank you guys for having me, and thank you, listeners.
Yeah, and make sure, just Daniel, stay on when we sign off. I just had to ask you something behind the scenes.
Yep, cool.
All right, just really quick before we log off, everyone else there, if you're watching this on YouTube, live, wherever, you found the link somewhere, maybe it's a little snippet because I'm starting to cut these up and put them out there. Go to Facebook if you haven't already, search Entrepreneurs Roundtable and request to join the group. We're having several people a day joining, and the group is just becoming awesome. So, all right, I think that's about it. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.